Definitely more feminine.
More as a masculine person.
Feminine.
Feminine person.
Yes.
Okay.
I see myself more as a masculine person, although since I've been brought up mostly by my mother, who was the dominant person in the family, here and there I believe I have some feminine traits as well.
I think I see myself more as feminine, but I do notice that on some days I feel more masculine or others more feminine.
I think masculine. Yeah.
Feminine.
I would say neutral, but more masculine maybe, yeah.
It's my choice of my clothes choice, my behavior choice, literally everything, I guess.
Well, I'd say that's quite hard to say. I just see myself as more masculine than feminine, I guess.
I'm not dealing with it. Oh, yeah, I'm not busy thinking about that.
Well, this is a very good question. I think this really depends on how we qualify masculine and feminine traits and what we consider them to be. But I do feel like in my everyday, both traits come into play. On the masculine side, we can say a more harsher way of emotions and very perhaps more intense way of showing emotions come up. Whereas on the feminine side, I tend to be very empathetic with people and very direct as well in what I'm saying. Although I still think I am overcomplicating some things.
I think it's more about how other people perceive you rather than how you perceive yourself. So I think it's just I can see that people perceive me as more feminine.
I don't know. I don't really think about it all that often. So I think maybe it's,
The way you dress yourself.
yeah, sure. And clothing, of course. Also things like habits, maybe, which is more when you drink beer instead of wine, probably that kind of thing. Also things like motorized sporting. Is that the right direction? Okay.
I'm not so sure. I don't know. I refer to myself as a she. I shop at the females' clothes section, and I don't know. I think but other than that, I don't think much more.
How they reflect my everyday life? To
Like maybe
very little extent.
yourself, maybe they influence other things, for example.
I guess how I dress myself.
I do feel that I have like a bit of masculine behavior, and like I guess we all kind of mixed in everyday in our present world. We all kind of mixed, but I feel myself more feminine. But of course, if a person more masculine is also fine.
No, not really. I'll not say it's important to who I am.
No.
I think it's good to then bring up the example of being very close to people, in terms of being, as one might say, a touchy person, and that for that sometimes I do get reactions or somewhat negative reactions, I would say.
I think so. Yeah, because I do think it's more stereotypically, but it's also, I don't think that's the rightest way, but I do feel like sometimes when I feel more masculine, I feel maybe more powerful, and when I'm more feminine, I feel like I can more express my emotions and feelings.
Of course, because that's how you visually present yourself. So yes, that's important.
No, not really.
No.
I don't feel like any judgment. I don't feel any judgment.
Not really. It's not something I really care about. I'm really busy with. No.
Our team, we are doing that. We're saying that to each other. That's you can't wear this, or it's too short, or yes.
Yeah, I think so. I do tend to be very enthusiastic about things, and I always receive that to be a good trait, a very positive thing in especially project work.
I do think that most feedback is positive. I do think that if there are negative feedback, I try to cut it out. So there's definitely a negative one, but I just prefer to not involve myself with those people.
I don't think so. I'm not really in the mindset that I always think is it masculine or feminine. I'm not even quite sure what defines masculine or feminine, to be honest with you. So I would say no.
No.
I've never gotten comments on it.
I guess it's very depends on the culture where you are. Like, I guess that maybe in more Eastern countries, they prefer to have like for example, you're a woman, you should be feminine. You're a man, you should be more masculine. In more Western worlds, they don't really care, I guess. But I don't really think that they prioritize people who choose the opposite. I mean, like, I guess they are fine with literally everyone.
I would say society is more accepting of masculine men and feminine females. Yeah.
Men, for example, have, how do you say it?
Painting nails.
Yes,
Yeah.
you see it more often. Or what I saw here in the building was a man was wearing a lipstick.
I do think there is a tendency to accept this more, obviously, as our world is shaping and values are somewhat changing. I mean, I've been brought up in a very classical family. My parents are pretty old, so in myself, I really have a balance between the two, I would say. So it's not, it's not that insanely tending towards the newer ways as it is now. So I might say that I'm a bit perhaps more on the side of the old ways.
No, it's definitely an approval. I also think there's definitely still a social structure that reinforms those things, but I do think that it's improved in the past, compared to the past.
Yeah, I think so. Because you have a lot of, at least if you take clothing for an example, there's a lot of change in clothing where male have like skinnier jeans and all that sort, and female have the baggy trousers with cargo pockets and all that, which is kind of a switch from what it was before.
Do you think?
Well, yeah, I don't know what you mean by the past, but like 5-10 years ago, yeah.
I would think so.
So you mean like your behavior should be more important than like
Than
your...
what other people think of you.
Sure, like, yeah.
Yes, of course, I would say it's always important to just be who you are.
No.
No.
Yeah, I think stereotypes are and will be left behind, because that's not inclusivity.
Yeah.
That's not about what we are trying to get to. So I definitely believe that at one point we would just leave behind stereotypes, and it will be all about authenticity and being ourselves.
I think so, because I feel like everyone is different, and I think if everybody is sticking to what their personal thing, we will be all at our best, rather than if we all try to fit in the social, even though some people will fit there better. I do think that there will be people that are left out.
In what way?
Let's say you're born as a male, you should dress just masculine. You're born as a female, just
Of course, that's not true. No, because there's a lot of different individuals. I think that's not true.
No.
Yeah.